I don't care what your survey says. These are the rules, right here. You are in direct violation of the covenants.
They hit the door so hard my coffee sloshed onto my bare feet and cold air rushed in before I could even grab a towel. Porch light glaring in my eyes. Wet concrete under my toes. 3 HOA board members on my front step at 7:03 a.m., all in matching windbreakers like some budget SWAT team. Karen, the president, held this thick, stapled brick of paper. She didn't say hello. She just dropped it on my welcome mat so hard dust puffed up. The stack bent the corner of the mat and the top page screamed final notice in red. The whole thing reeked of cheap toner and perfume and the smell of fresh asphalt from the street they just repaved. On page 1, they circled my truck in my own driveway like it was a crime scene. On page 2, my little porch swing. On page 3, my solar lights. That morning, the HOA stormed the porch with 63 pages of old rules. Then I filed the survey that made them wish they'd stayed in bed. Buried in those pages were rules from 1998 about paint colors, bird feeders, even how long a kid could leave chalk on the sidewalk. None of it matched the updated bylaws they bragged about on the website. But they still slapped me with a $700 fine and a threat to tow my truck. I tried the nice route first. I wiped up my coffee, put on actual pants, and walked to the clubhouse for the emergency meeting they called for that same night at 9:00 p.m. My hands were still shaking as I laid their own rules on the plastic table that smelled like old pizza. I said, calm as I could, these are outdated. The county list is different. Your own lawyer updated them in 2019. The board wouldn't even look down. Karen stared over my head like I was a fly on the wall. One neighbor caught my eye, then looked away fast, like he was scared to be seen agreeing with me. When I brought up the 11 complaints they'd filed against me in 6 months, someone coughed and shuffled papers. When I pointed out the wrong rule numbers, Karen just said, rules are rules, you signed. Then she banged her little gavel on the table and moved on to landscaping. Walking home under the yellow streetlights, I could feel my face burn. Cold wind, smell of damp grass, that thick lump in my throat. That was my line in the sand. I wasn't going to yell or throw things or do anything dumb. I was going to use their favorite thing, paperwork. I stayed up past midnight with my laptop, eyes watering, digging through the county website and zoning maps. Then I hit something interesting. The original plat map from when the subdivision was carved up. It showed a narrow strip of land along our street labeled public access easement. And guess what sat right across that strip now? The giant HOA brick sign, their security camera pole, and part of Karen's fancy white fence. The next day, I took my lunch break at the municipal building instead of at my desk. The clerk brought out a thick manila folder and dropped it on the counter. The file landed with 63 pages of permits, letters, and complaints about our HOA. My eyes widened. Timeline item 1 April 5th at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call. My address. My name. Then another. And another. It was like reading a diary of every time Karen had called the cops because my cousin parked on the street or my porch light was too bright. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. That simple line from the city attorney's memo sat there like a little bomb on page 23. On the way home, I called a licensed surveyor and booked the earliest slot I could get. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder so clean even Karen would respect it. Survey day was a Saturday, bright and chilly, with the smell of someone's bacon drifting across the cul-de-sac. The surveyor pulled up at 8:15 a.m. in a dusty truck, rolled out his tripod, and started planting those little neon flags in the ground. Neighbors peeked through blinds. I just stood on my porch, pretending to sip coffee, heart pounding. The first flag went in right at the edge of my driveway. The second flag marked the front of my truck. Both inside my property line. Then he walked across the street toward the HOA sign, Karen's Pride and Joy, with its fake stone base and floodlights. The third flag went in behind it. The fourth went smack in the middle of the brick. The fifth landed inside her fence. The surveyor checked his tablet and nodded like this was just another day at work. But to me, every little flag was a drumbeat. By noon, the whole strip of land with the sign, the camera pole, and a chunk of Karen's fence was lit up with bright flags. The surveyor printed a summary right in his truck. I paid his $1,200 fee and took the signed report like it was solid gold. Then I walked that binder and survey straight back to the city. Inside it, I had everything lined up in order. Photos of their dawn porch ambush. Screenshots of Karen's angry emails. The city memo about false reports. My 11 complaint letters. The certified survey showing the HOA sign and fence built on public land without a permit and blocking the access easement. I filed a formal report with the Code Enforcement Office and another with the police about the pattern of false calls. Proper channels only. No yelling. Just paper. 2 weeks later, the payoff hit like a bomb at a picnic. It was May 3, 2024, the night of the monthly HOA cookout. Kids ran around with balloons. The smell of hot dogs and charcoal filled the cul-de-sac. People were finally outside, not hiding. Then 2 city trucks rolled in, light bars flashing, followed by a police cruiser. You could see phones lift up everywhere. One neighbor started whisper streaming to the neighborhood Facebook group. The code inspector walked straight to the brick sign, unfolded the survey map, and pointed with his pen while the officer talked quietly with Karen. The inspector's voice carried just enough. Unauthorized structure on public land. Blocked emergency access. Multiple false reports from the same party. Karen's face went from pink to gray. Someone behind me snorted. Another neighbor actually laughed out loud. By the end of the week, the HOA sign was gone. The camera pole was gone. Half of Karen's perfect white fence was stacked in her driveway waiting for a haul-away crew. The board got an official notice of fines from the city, starting at $3,000 and climbing daily until they fixed everything. The police sent her a warning letter about the false calls, with all those 4:27 a.m. notes in black and white. At the next HOA meeting, held in a smaller room now that people actually showed up, Karen tried to gavel her way through it, but the neighbors were done. Someone nominated a new president. Hands shot up. I did not even have to raise mine. When it was over, Karen walked out fast, eyes on the floor, while people whispered and filmed. A new board member came over, thanked me, and offered to help rewrite the rules to match the law in the real county file. Now my truck sits in my driveway, my porch swing creaks in the evening, and the only papers on my mat are pizza coupons. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.